Just been preparing some Kukrit nuts and opening them up and trying to find the grubs inside. The Kukrit nuts come from the same tree or same palm plant as the Kukrit tree here. So where this thatching and where these bed frame posts have come from, they produce this nut when they're a mature tree. Now that's how the nut looks to start with, but if you're careful using the machete you can open them up, and when you open them up they're hollow, and if they're hollow it means that there's a grub that's been burrowing its way around like that. Now these grubs you can use for fish bait, you can use for eating. They've only ever lived in the nut, so they taste of nut. And here's an example of a nut that just has the coconutty pith, so that again you can eat as well. So if you open it up and it isn't hollow and there's no beetle that's laid its eggs in there or laid its grub or larva in there, that's what it looks like. That can be scraped out and eaten. But also I've just opened one up, I'll just put this down, and that's what it looks like when you knock the top off. When you knock the top off carefully with your machete, there's a little grub buried in there. Now the idea is you take the grub out, that's now empty. There's a grub there. Pretty docile little things, they don't really move or do anything. And as I say, they've been born in there, they've eaten the nut, so they taste of effectively coconut. So out here, if you can't use or don't have a fishing line or can't manufacture one, and you come across a Kukrit tree, these little grubs are something that you can consume as well. They're rich in oils and fats, and also are going to give you a bit of protein as well. So this one's as fresh as you like. And once you forget about what you're eating, to be fair, it just tastes like a bit of oily coconut. Highly nutritious. And that's the first thing I've eaten since 24 hours. So I'm going to take the rest of these down now. I'm going to put them on my Kukrit line, see if I can catch some bait fish, and then see if I can then use the bait fish to catch something larger, and then hopefully use that to catch something for a night line, which will give me more of a substantial meal. So everything feeds everything else in one way or another out here. It's quite fascinating, but also everything is trying to defend itself from everything else out here. Again, another fascinating aspect. Lovely. The yeri rod is a very, very simple rod that's got a tiny, tiny little hook on it, like so. And then this little fella here basically goes on the hook. Like so. And you end up with the hook with your Kukrit grub on the end of a line, which then gets dropped into the water. The fish at the moment have been not too frequently biting, because the river at the moment it's been high and it's dropped down by about 2 or 3 metres in the last week or so. So at the moment the fish are they're uncertain as to what's happening and they're not settling. But in this river you've got lots and lots of catfish. You've got piranha, you've got stingray, you've got electric eel. They're higher up the food chain. You've got the wolffish, the chimera. It's full of life. Although you wouldn't think it at the moment, would you? Go on. Stop it going in the water. There we go. So we've got this little fella here. Their mouths are too small to actually swallow the Kukrit grub, so what they tend to do is they'll suck it in, and it's as they suck it in you've got to be quick and then react and pull them out. So in this case my Kukrit grub has actually gone, but I've got some, oh no, it hasn't. So that from a nut, that from a nut, catches that from the river, which hopefully if I put it on a night line and get a few more, should be able to get me something more substantial to eat later on. But for now I'll put this little fella out of his misery. They're so small, to put them out of the misery you can just pinch them behind the neck or behind the head. Splash in the water, it can make the fish curious as to what fruit and things have dropped in the water. Do this for another 15 minutes or so, see what I can catch, and then go get some more firewood, which I'm here for 5 days, so I need quite a bit of firewood. It's so peaceful here. People's initial conception, or perception rather, is the Amazon's dangerous, the Amazon's a frightening place. There are things here that can cause you harm, eat you, kill you, but at the same time it's an incredibly life-abundant place, and in some ways it feels safer than back home. Once you understand how to behave and how to live within the environment, how it sees. The jungle doesn't care about you, it will consume you and swallow you whole. But if you can understand how to be respectful and how to live within it, it's an incredibly peaceful place. Oh, it's a catfish. And you can get lucky sometimes, or unlucky. That was quite a large banded catfish, I believe. It landed, because it's so slippery and muddy here, it's worked its way straight back in. So, there you get an idea of what you can and can't catch, and how you can and can't catch things. So I'll leave that there for now. I'll put a few more grubs on and see what else I can catch. So I just went down to do a bit more yari rod fishing with the Kukrit grubs. So overall today, this is what I've caught on the yari rod. Got a crab, it wouldn't let go, and 2 fish. They'll be used as bait fish for either hand line tomorrow, or, well, one of them will be put on a night line tonight to see if I can catch a catfish or something like that. Overall today's been very, very, very pleasant. It's rained, so I've washed in the rain. Shelter's been tested, reasonable. Fire's yet to be started, but it's only about 3:30 or so, so I'm going to conserve my firewood. Overall, very good day. Just watched a couple of big fuzzy buzzy bumblebees dancing around some leaves, landing on them, drinking some water, so very pleasant day.